and welcome back to another episode here on Between Us Girls. I'm your host, Michelle, and today we are, as usual, going to be helping you raise your vibration and tap into your divine femininity. And on this episode of Dream Chasers, I will be talking to Madi Murphy, one of the CEOs of the Cosmic Revolution, which is an amazing, amazing platform that is building a community of cosmic bosses. So if you didn't catch the live that I did with her last month, please, please, please check out the YouTube so that you can watch it, because I know we were both dropping gems. I know it. I know it. You're just gonna have to go watch to see what we were talking about. So on this episode, we got into this in, gosh, I think it was April, and y'all know that was like a crazy time because everybody was kind of like, I can't even believe that this is real. I can't even believe that COVID-19 is actually COVID-19. I know myself personally that like sometimes I'm still like, I can't even believe that this is real, and I can't even believe that COVID-19 is COVID-19. But it is, okay? And so Maddie and I talked about just where we were at the time. I asked her various questions about how she got started, what made her want to get on this path, because that's what this show is about. I want to show people what it really is for us to kind of tap into our spiritual selves and to follow the directions that we find there, because that's where your information is. That's where you find out what it is that you're really supposed to be doing. That's where you find out who you are. So that's what we'll be getting into in this episode. So don't forget to follow on social media at The Cosmic Revolution and at Between Us Girls Podcast, at MS Creative AF. Now let's get into it.
And like everything I record and try to edit is like, won't save. I'm like, good for the love of God.
That is, I feel like, the last like true patience testing things of someone on like on a spiritual walk. It's like, but can you stay patient when like this file won't upload or this thing edit won't save? Like then how it like, let's put it to work.
That is really the thing. Like, how real are you in your walk? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
All right. So it's so good to see you. I appreciate you so much.
Of course. This is so fun.
Yeah, so I've been following you for a while. One of those full moon memes got me. Like, I gotta tell you that they just have magic in them. Every time I post that, I pay attention. If I repost that from you, I watch and look, see how many people react to it. All of them, every time. So
yeah, I love it. I'm very moon driven, so I'm happy that is casting a spell out in the Instagram world.
Yes. Oh, I just got chills a little bit. I love it. Okay, so I'm on the screen twice. I don't know if you can see me there, but I like to be able to look at it and record it, and then also I'm just using my phone for like my video because, to be honest, I'm having more technical issues. I can't get my computer to recognize my microphone. So anyway, I'm just making do, you know. And because I think that's just like you said, like that's a real test. Like the other night, I was about to get so frustrated.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, now it's trying to ask me to join the meeting, but like I'm already in there.
It's like, yeah, you're in here. I see
Yeah.
too.
It's like, girl, you better get in the meeting. I'm like, I'm in the meeting.
Hello, wake up! I'm in here.
I mean, I'm running it twice. Okay. All right. So yeah, that's like a huge thing. The other night I was getting so frustrated and I was like, you know what? I'm not even about to get frustrated about this. What do I need to do right now to solve the problem?
Mm-hmm.
How am I going to be able to just, okay, this will have to work. So I think that's like not something I always knew how to do. So why don't you tell me a little bit about how you figured that out and how you kind of got started making magic?
Great. Thank you so much. I'm, first of all, just so happy to be chatting with you. I love your work. I love your vibe. I love it. Like anyone who uses AF in their business is just like my kind of person in the world. So yeah, I'll try and keep it as tidy as possible, but, I always grew up very creative, very, I guess spiritually inclined when I was younger, but then in a very Christian household. But I love like the mysticism behind like certain rituals connecting to the land. I had on my like big pile of crystals. Like talking to my feathers and my plants and the whole thing. And then, I think somewhere along the way, I just thought that I had to kind of put that aside. I don't know if I consciously or subconsciously decided to, but I was like, I got to be serious. I got to go out in the world now. And, I went to a college that was very like, traditional. People went and got jobs and like lawyers and working in accounting and like Ernst and Young and like going to like go to PR. And I was like, I got to like get business casual clothes. And, like, and clearly, as you could tell, like I like to wear my own thing, not that. So I think in doing that, I really like just lost all that connection. I thought that was the stuff that was just for me, being childish or being like crunchy and silly. And I wanted to be obviously taken seriously, and I wanted to be successful in my own way and provide for myself. And the more I got into that and like, working traditional jobs and I worked for a few like things I thought were my dream jobs. Like I worked for a magazine in New York City. Right. Absolutely. I mean, I can't even tell you what I did during that time. I felt like I was in a fog, like blacked out of like so uninspired, just like got to work. The highlight of my day was getting like a Hostess cupcake at 3:00 from the vending machine. Like really not fulfilled, not connected to myself at all. And then, so many things happened, twists and turns of the journey. But I think it was, I did move to Costa Rica after that, like in my early 20s. I was like, I need to get out of the city, figure out something. That was one level of my spiritual journey where I was like, great, this is what I want. That was like the rewilding, I call it. Like, great, I don't need to be in an office. I love this. I can like have a mango for breakfast and meditate when I wake up in the morning. But of course, as you might expect, when I came back to New York City after like a year living there, I lost all that all over again. So I was like, how do I bring that to this life? And then a few more twists and turns in the journey. My mom got breast cancer, and since now she's recovered, and just some things that were just very humbling. And I was set to be married to someone who was a very stable, safe, beautiful person, but definitely not my like soulmate by any means. And all these things, my life had been just a series of choices that I felt like I was making for other people, or to like make this invisible force in my life happy or proud of me. Like nothing was from me. And I had like folded myself in like origami to like adjust. And all of a sudden I was like, I don't even recognize myself. And I started having like crazy spiritual downloads and dreams and like visions and like signs and things coming up. And it was like, I thought I was having a nervous breakdown. I stopped eating. I lost like 30 pounds and like, I was not good. I was like, what? But I was like, I've gone off the deep end. And I really like my intuition being like, my higher self, my spirit being like, this is not your path. This is not your path. We're going to put every block in the way. And trust me, my brain tried to override it. My brain tried to be like, no, I'm going ahead with my plan. And like, this is what people expected me. And I physically couldn't, like my body like shut down, which is when I realized the wisdom of our body, first and foremost. Our body has its own intelligence. And then I think I ended up calling off my wedding. And I think in that moment, it was like this moment of like, you know what? Like you just said F it and made everyone super uncomfortable. And there's no thing you can point to. There's no reason. It's just your intuition. So now like you kind of owe it to yourself to like live intuitively and live for yourself. Because you can't go back to like mundane living. You can't go back to mediocrity. Like you can't go back to like folding yourself back in that. You busted out of that origami pose you were in. So now I'm like, and also I was dead ass broke. So the only thing I could control was like my mindset and like doing meditation and just like journaling, like all these things that were for free. I was like, all right. So started working with that. And then, so on and so forth. I started my own business. Every level of your life brings another level of challenges. I was like, I want to start my own business. I am passionate. I am fired up. I thought that was like the apex of my journey. And then that was the ground zero of my journey, was starting the business. Then I had to like learn everything about my intuition and trusting myself and setting boundaries all over again. And then, so I was doing work in like a healing creative field in terms of like making cold pressed juices and smoothies and elixirs, and at a coffee shop in Brooklyn and a shop out in Montauk on Long Island. And I loved it, but really it was a gathering part for me for all these cool women just cool people who would come find me and be like, you know, I like your business. Like, I'm going through something too, and I want to start my own business, or I'm interested in learning about like, what is this like moon thing you keep talking about? And like, can you pull a tarot card for me? And can you read my astrology chart? And that kind of became, from like the side thing I was doing out of my businesses, like became my full-time thing, because of my now business partner. She kind of pushed me to do it full-time. So then I was like, okay, I'm going full-time on this moon thing. Let's do it.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's really like the thing, the moon thing, like
The moon
it
thing
controls so much. And so like, I was just thinking like, hey, we got this full pink super moon, and I know everybody that I have interacted with and myself has been like, all emo and like going through so many changes the last few days. I'm like, we just need to go ahead and settle down and settle into it. So like, being that you're the moon expert, let me ask you how we can use that moon energy to mellow ourselves.
Yeah, it's so good. So yeah, so the moon, like I said, if I'm going to dedicate myself to something, I was like, you know what, the moon, she is like almighty. She never stops doing what she does, and we can just look to her for so much alignment and ease in our life. You know, especially like women listening to this, we're so connected to the moon. The moon phase like mirrors our menstrual cycle completely. It's this reminder that we are constantly going through like a shedding, a rebirth, a reblossoming, a reillumination every month. That's why it's exhausting sometimes, but that's also what makes us powerful AF. And especially, I'm sure a lot of people listening to you are creatives. Working in a cycle with the moon helps us honor our natural cycle in terms of like, okay, it's the new moon. It's going to be time to go quiet and go within. And you might feel like, yeah, a lot of ideas coming through, but you don't feel very social. And like, so tracking the moon phase, each moon phase helps inform you of like aligning yourself with an energy. So it's like riding a wave of energy versus trying to swim against our traditional society, like Western American society. It's like every waking minute of the day should be output and productivity and hustle hard and work hard. And so of course you're going to have days where you're not feeling creative, or you're feeling blocked, or you're not feeling like seeing people or whatever. And when you work with the moon phases, you could be like, you know what? Oh my God. Okay. The moon is in Scorpio today, and it's like a, you know, waxing moon. So maybe I'm feeling like I need to, you know, go within or get a little, like do a ritual or something. But the moon's in Gemini, that's super chatty day. That's a good day for me to schedule a podcast, or that's a great day for me to do a work call. And like following the moon, it's like, it gives us like a map for the month to align our energy with. And that way we can like set the intention on the new moon, work it all the way through. And the full moon is an explosion of energy. It's like, everything's turned on. It's a great time for like manifesting. It's a great time for celebration, but it's also a good time to like release. So that's why we might like cry. We might want to, again, like howl at the moon, dance, shake it off, because we're kind of meant to like burn off some energy during that time. And when we're not aware of these moon cycles, we just internalize it and we think we're going crazy. Like, why can I not stop crying today? It's like, that's the moon telling you to like shed some old emotion from the past month. So working with it, it just helps, I think, step into so much ease in your life.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. And I think like, I'm kind of a science nerd. So I'm like, you know, like we're made of water, and, you know,
Exactly.
the moon controls the tide. So of course we have to splash against whatever, you know.
Of course, like we're being pulled by the moon just the way the tides and the oceans are. And you know, speaking of the science nerd part, it was cool. I went to a farm, a vineyard in Sicily this fall, and they did all biodynamic farming. So that's what I love about this. This is not like, we are not the first ones talking about this. This has like been done for thousands of years, and farmers even still know that to plant with the moon phase like yields the best crops and needs the less like outside influence. So you need less, you know, fertilizer, you need less pesticides. Like when you plant a seed on the new moon and harvest it on the full moon, it's like literally, I'm in this place in Italy and they have moon phase calendars all over everything. I'm like, why do you guys have so many moon calendars? And they're like, that's how we do all of our planting. I'm like, that's so cool.
Right. Like that's how you know how to live. And like when I was growing up, I always thought it was so weird that we had the Farmer's Almanac, but my dad kept it. But like, I also didn't know that he was like an astrologer, and because like, he never told me or anything.
Yeah.
Now I'm talking about it. So like, I just think it's really beautiful if you follow these cycles. Like, they will really tell you about your life and what to expect and how to navigate the whole thing, because it is tough.
Absolutely. Yeah. Life's not easy, and that's why I really think having, a practice, a spiritual practice, a community, something that you can look to, that's like, bigger than yourself, but also like deeply within yourself, is what just helps you navigate it. And like, all right, what, life's going to keep throwing us freaking curveballs, like, hello, Corona. But
Okay.
can you respond to it like in the middle and just take deep breaths versus being pulled so high and low and losing yourself? That's when you give away your power, is when you just lose yourself when something goes wrong. So it's like we're talking about the technology before. It's like trust me, that's my last part of my spiritual practice. Sometimes like traffic and like slow technology glitches are where I still have to like bring myself into like, okay, I'm not going to give away my power right now. I'm not going to lose my shit right now. Okay, deep breaths. It's true. It's really true.
I mean, that's where, like, I know not having to go to work has been a blessing a little bit because of the no traffic, but it has provided me with a whole new set of challenges to grow through, because now I have to try to do school at the same time as I'm trying to do their work still, because I've got the laptop right here. They're like, Marshall, we need, they still expect that. Meanwhile, someone's like, hey, I need lunch. So
yeah. I really admire, the mamas who are working and the dads who are working. It's so, I mean, to teach homeschool while working a full-time job, while being a mom, it's like, while I was doing the normal, like, I'm like my friend keeps putting up these prayers for like moms who are working right now. Cause I'm like, it's a lot. And of course it's hard because I don't want to ignore my children, but I'm working too. Like, it's like it's a whole thing that you're navigating, and you're doing it beautifully and gracefully, and there's no roadmap. There's no instruction. No one's ever done this before. So like, just good job. I think just like being easy on yourself and being gracious with yourself is the most important thing.
Thank you. I receive it. I receive it. I receive what Spirit is asking me to do right now. That's hug this baby right here. I mean, and I was thinking about that earlier. I was like, nobody ever did this. Like, you never did this. Like, why are you trying to be like this, like totally at peace mom in the middle of the Corona? Like, no one has done it before. So like, I just want to like relax.
Exactly. There's never, ever, I don't care how cool, how tough, how rich, how smart you are. Like, no one has been through this before. So
no, absolutely not. But let me ask you, so speaking of like never having experienced something before, like how did going through that spiritual awakening really make you evolve yourself in a way that, like you said about your career, so you had to look at what you wanted to do in a different way, right? So like, what was that like?
Yeah. So, after that, to me, when you go through a spiritual awakening, or you're open to like, I call it the dark night of the soul, and you have that moment of like everything just cracks wide open. You kind of hit rock bottom in your path to rebuilding yourself. It's almost like anything that's not in alignment to your deepest authenticity does not stick. Like, you can't even go back to the BS things you used to like to do or be like, I used to just work jobs to like, just make money. I don't know, like whatever. Like, I was definitely, like you said, a party girl. I was like, I think sometimes like party girls become the spiritual ones because we have all that pent up energy. And we're just like, okay. And we're just, looking for that high that comes to being with people and dancing and then I was like, okay. So I tried to go back to all that. I was just working to get paid to go out to like the club, the bar, look cute, whatever, like Vegas, Miami. And then I'm like, I literally could not. I tried to go back to that, trust me, after this. And I was like, it would not stick. It was just like throwing something at the wall and sliding off. So I was like, okay, well, first thing is I need to find work that like fulfills me deeply. Like, because again, like I can't go back to like that shallow kind of like living. It just feels so bad, like viscerally. It felt like uncomfortable to me. So, it sounds like kind of cheesy now, but it was like 9 years ago. I don't know what is time right now. It was 9 years ago. And I had this dream, and in the dream there was just this feather like over my head, and it just said the word healer. And I had never said this, like now I feel like we say healer, healer, healer. 9 years ago, I'm like living in New York City, working in whatever, like I was like, healer. I'm like, what, to become a nurse or something? I was like, what? Like, I was like, I don't want to become a nurse. I do not like anatomy and physiology. So I'm like, so I'm like, what? But it was so beautiful, the dream. So I didn't really know what it meant. And then I was like, you know, do I have to like teach yoga? Cause like, that was again, the only like spiritual career kind of that was available to me at that time. Like, and I didn't really want to do that. I didn't resonate with it. And then I just, because my mom's like breast cancer journey, she was very like, she grew up very always teaching us about the power of like vegetables and herbs and like the power for like functional medicine and to heal your own body. And she was giving us apple cider vinegar shots in the morning and all of that. So her journey, she did a lot of like green juicing when she was healing, and her doctors were amazed at like the recovery, what her, you know, white blood cell count, her immunity, like how it was so supported by this. So I kind of like use that as I'm a Virgo with a Pisces moon. So Virgo loves like earth healing, like herbs, crystals, plants. And then my Pisces moon loves the like astrology, you know, taking out the astral plane. Like, so my Virgo kind of went head first into like, okay, let's learn about like herbs. And I just was literally talking about it with my sister in a coffee shop, and some woman like tapped me on the shoulder. She's like, I couldn't help but overhear you saying you want to get into the healing world. I just went to this school. You should check it out. Blah, blah, blah. And she like happened to have worked in fashion and then started her own juice company. And I was like, oh, you're so cool. Like, I want to be like you. What? So I ended up going to, it's called the Institute for Integrative Nutrition. So I went there, and then, that kind of like, I was like, okay, good. This is something I want to do. I want to heal people. I want to help people. But you know, like one thing to anyone who signs up for this journey, it's not like linear. It's not like, oh, you do it and you check, you're done. I was like, I got into the juicing world. I loved it. You know, started a really cool business. My family got to work with me. It was awesome. But then it was like, to be on a spiritual journey, you have to die like a lot of death to yourself and be reborn a lot. And you have to let things go. I guess like, because that was a call I got. It was like, you know, we had a coffee shop in Brooklyn. We did some fun stuff. But the call was like, you got to go bigger with this. You got to do more. You're making like drinks right now for people. That's amazing. But like, you need to be teaching people about like how to take back their effing power. Like the coffee and the juice and the tea and the elixir is like so cute. But like, there's something more. Like, we're going through a revolution right now. Like, this was like, you know, the election had just happened and things like it was, and I was doing these private moon circles for my girlfriends as a way to support each other, and things were happening like crazy. People were manifesting like houses and businesses and babies, and they thought they couldn't have babies, and I was like, this like gathering together and honoring the moon phases and setting intentions together and doing like inner child healing. I'm like, this is kind of like what I need to do. So then I took another leap of faith, because again, at the time I was like, I don't know, is this a business? Like, I'm leaving like what? And you know, so it's just the journey is like definitely authenticity. You have to do something that feels good to you. You will notice if it does not feel authentic, it just won't work. It'll just be like sliding down the wall, not catching on to anything. And I think to be on this journey of someone who's like a spiritually aligned person with or purpose driven, you have to be like willing to like check your ego a lot. Your ego's gonna want to hold on to that thing. Like, I made this and I worked so hard at it. Like, this is my identity. And it's like, nope, like we're going to the next level, or we're doing the next thing.
Yes, indeed. Girl, you have said a word right there. You did, like, in thinking of, because we were just talking about this on the, coincidentally, I just not renamed, but I started the show, Course Correction Healers, which I'm trying to bring like various people, which I love to have you back on there. Various healers come through and, you know, talk to each other and maybe talk to another person and just like kind of give the healing in this virtual space. So we were just talking about like everything that you and I are talking about right now. So it's just all the confirmation about authenticity and inner child work and just overall like how to get out of your own way when you're being called to do this work, because that is really the thing. Like, I was just talking about holding yourself hostage in it, because I know that's what I was doing to myself. And some days still do. You know what I mean?
Oh, that and never stops too. Just so everyone
Right.
knows, there's not like one magic pill you take and then your mindset's right and your spirit's light and you're just like, yay. You're just like every turn, every moment of growth is going to face you, like going to give you a new challenge of like your mind, especially. So I know it's so true. I love that, like keeping yourself hostage. Like,
Yeah, because like I imagine it like I'm in a room with a door I can see illuminated. I kind of probably got this from this meditation I listened to. They're like, go to the door. But I see myself standing in there and then there's somebody blocking me, but it's me. You know what I mean? Because we're always saying, oh, such and such is stopping me from my success. Or if I just had, I would be it. But it's really you. Like if you don't allow yourself to flow, you won't know which way to go. I'm rhyming a little bit. That's usually what happens.
I like
when
that.
I turn on.
I do appreciate your intuitive like rhyming that happens.
It's so weird, but I'm like, I'll just let it go. Because when I write and I read back, I'm like, okay, you know, because I know it's not me.
That's
not
your,
me,
that's right. That's your poetry of your soul. That's your oracle.
Right.
You're channeling. You're like, it comes out in like a rhythm and a little rhyme, but it wants to.
I love it. And it feels good to do it. And just because it's always for me too. You know, I think that's what people, sometimes there's a misconception that like, I think for myself, and this is probably one of my limiting beliefs, but it's like when I start to talk, I'm not telling you because I think I'm better than you. I'm helping everyone. You know, this is for all of us. It's not just me preaching. You know?
Oh, whenever I'm like, also, first of all, I'm like, if you ever, there's so many things that like I could just go off on everything you said. I have so much to say. I'm like, yeah, what you just said though, if there's ever like a healer or a teacher or a leader or someone who is like, I know everything and like I was sent here by the divine to heal you people, like just literally check them in your trash bin immediately, because the true healer, the true leader, the true any teacher is like just learning right alongside with you and being humble and being like, I am saying this out loud because I need to hear it too. Yes. And I need to remind myself of this. And that's why I'm saying it out loud. Like, we are all human. Like that stuff is so old school to me. Like that's that, you know, all these shifts we're going through that's happening in like the astrological, spiritual world. I'm like, no, like we need people humble, rooted in service, and just showing up of like, I'm figuring this out too. Like I'm on a journey and I might be like maybe 2 steps ahead of you, but like I'm right there with you.
Yeah. Like, let me tell you what just happened to me yesterday.
Let me just tell you what I just, right. Let me tell you what I just tripped and stumbled over behind me. Right?
Yeah. I mean, and like we were just talking about sort of, that was also what was kind of holding some people back was from, they're not perfect, but no one is. And especially whenever you are an intuitive, empathic healer, a person with a rainbow in their hands, like you've been through so many things that you have to be able to teach that.
Exactly. Like we go through like the storm to get the rainbow and you go through it. Like, I mean, every good person that I've gone to for healing or for advice or a teacher, it's like they've been through it and they get knocked down by life. And like, that's, you know, it's the choice you have to want to be like, okay, like I could let this turn me into a really bitter, hardened person who doesn't believe in miracles or magic or like trust in the mystery of the universe. Or I could sit and with my discomfort and look at myself. And also, like you said before, like the ways we hold ourselves back. It's so easy to want to blame someone else, but that's giving away your power. Like there are things that happen to you that are bad. There are things that are happened to all of us. And like, there's definitely people out there with not good intentions and there's trauma. And I'm not trying to downplay any of that. But at the end of the day, like we each have the power to be like, nope, they're not going to break me. Like my spirit is so much more resilient than that. And I'm here for something. So I'm going to just keep taking really good care of myself while I figure that out. Like, it's so empowering to know that. It's hard in the beginning because it's fun to blame someone else. I used to do it all the time.
Girl, if she would stop. I caught myself doing it today. I was like, well, if she hadn't sent me that email, I'm like, no.
Right.
No. You did not have to be like that.
It does not. I know. There's a great like tool we learned in one of my programs. It's like the drama triangle or triangle of disempowerment. And it's literally like, if you're putting yourself in the role of like the hero, we think you always have to save someone, the victim, where things are always happening to you, or if you think that you're like the villain and you're like some bad person, like to someone else, like you're always taking away your power and other people's power. So it's like, I would just check myself. I'm like, am I being the hero? Am I trying to like rescue someone who doesn't even want to be rescued right now and wasting all of my energy instead of focusing on my own damn problems? Or am I like playing this victim thing? All of this stuff we're talking about too, just so everyone knows, it takes a lot of time to figure these things out, but it's about awareness. Like it's never a perfect journey, but you literally check yourself. Like you said, I did the same thing. Something will come up and I'll be like, oh, am I doing that thing again? Oh, that's funny. Okay, brain, we're doing that thing. New computer programming, new coding, new upgrade, software system. We're not running that one anymore.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's a misconception, is that people who teach don't have to continue to grow through things. I mean, we're all expanding every day. Like, just because, I can help you a little bit with how to align your business doesn't mean that I'm not still rebranding, or it doesn't mean that I'm not still, like.
And I don't want to trust anybody who isn't. Like if you weren't constantly rebranding or looking at new ways to get aligned in your business, then why would I want to work with you? Like, it's like, okay, well, like you're obviously not even practicing what you preach. So it's like you wouldn't go to a hairstylist who like had busted up hair. It's like, it's like, I want to know, like, you're doing this work too. Like you believe. Yeah, I think that's a beautiful way of putting it. And that shows like our humanness. Like,
yeah.
Like, okay, like also I'm rebranding, but I'm figuring it out. Maybe it's not perfect. It's not a perfect process. Like I'm playing around.
Well, I know for me, like you said, like, I mean, when I started Creative AF, it was like I got a major download that said, here's how you go and do what the thing is that you feel like you want to do. And I said, okay. And I just like, Taurus, all right, and then I get there and I am not aligned. So I can't get the rest of the information. You know what I mean? So I'm just kind of going, well, they said I need to start this business. Now I need to find out how to talk to some people. So then I had to try to fix my alignment, and that is vibrational adjustment and mindset change. And like you said, I mean, it takes every day. Like I have to get up every day and make sure it's adjusted.
Every day, right? It's like anything, it just gets out of alignment. Like entropy is like the world's natural way of going towards chaos. It's like like our cars have to get aligned. If you don't believe in going to chiropractors, like I go to chiropractors because my spine gets out of alignment. So does like everything. Our thoughts, our vibe gets out of alignment, and like you have to keep doing it. And you can. But the good thing is, the more you do it, you can tell really quickly when you're out of alignment. You're like, why am I feeling so grouchy? Why is nothing going my way right now? And why is everything so hard? And you're like, right. I'm not in alignment. Like,
right. Let me go to my space. Like I have some rescue things that I do. Like I got my music. If I need to talk to myself, if I need to go write a note that's like, oh my God, these people are, and then I just like talk myself through it, because I'm like, I'll be like, I'm on the edge. And I don't know what it is until you look at it,
Yeah, I think having your tools, like I'm a Virgo, I said, so I love tools. I love like action steps. Same thing like Taurus. We love like earth. We love things that we can like see, touch, like feel. And so, yeah, I always tell like my clients, like, like figuring out your toolkit and what it is for you, because what's going to help you, what helps your friends, not going to help you, what helps your partner is maybe not what you need. And it's like emotional. I call it like, it's like cosmic self-care. It's like, okay, there's like self-care, the mask and the bubble baths, but then it's like cosmic self-care is like, how do you take care of your energy and your vibe and like your inner child? And how do you like, when you start feeling out of whack, like how do you self-soothe and how do you do that for yourself? And like, so you can have, and that way you're not like floundering about and wasting all this time. Like, you know what? My vibe's off. I'm going to go, like you said, write, play an instrument. I'm going to go dance, take a salt bath, take a walk in nature, call a friend, go see my healer. Like you have to have that. It's like a drawer ready to go. Yes. You pull it open. You're like, all right, what do I need today? And having your own healer, that's becoming your own guru, your own like,
right.
You gotta just gotta just start the journey and start exploring and seeing what works for you.
Exactly. And like, I had to pack my own tool bag. So I have to I have to keep my good tools with me, because I have a lot of old unhealthy coping mechanisms for when my vibe gets affected. Because it was always happening.
Yeah.
But whatever I was using to come away from the feeling was not right.
I love that. That's a great distinction. Again, like for people listening, like you just said that so beautifully. Like we've had all these uncomfortable feelings. We've had our alignments been out of check before. And maybe before you go on this journey of like self-awareness, you have your coping mechanisms, things you reach to like unconsciously, like mindlessly. Let me just, like for me, it was always like online shopping. I mean, there's a lot of prices I had, but things like, I don't feel good. Let me get that hit of like buying something new, or let me like distract myself with things. And those are like avoidance things.
Yeah.
The emotional, self-soothing, the cosmic self-care things, the alignment are like, first of all, you go into the problem, you go into the feeling. There's other things where like going away from it, going into it, and then being like, okay, and this is the stuff that like is truly nourishes you on like that soul level, versus the other things are just, they're distractions or avoidance things, and it catches up with you.
It definitely does, because I found myself at AA, so I mean,
right. Oh, yeah, exactly.
But,
and like,
I know that about myself.
Yeah. No,
I keep seeing people say, I hope I don't develop a drinking problem because I've been drinking every day, because they're coping with being stuck at home. I'm like, please, God, don't do it.
Yeah, right. And I think that's a good example, a good thing to highlight this time that we're in this quarantine and this shelter in place moment. Things are just going to get stirred up, and this is a good time to look at like, how do I cope when I'm in tight corners with my partner and I'm upset? How do I cope with that? I feel lonely. How do I cope with that? I feel overwhelmed. How do I cope with that? And like, if you don't, just having the awareness, first things first, just noticing, what do I do? What am I complaining about? What do I do when I don't feel good? And then like, I don't want to be a Pollyanna, because like, it's just hard right now. So I'm not saying like it's going to be all rainbows, but like I invite everyone to use a little bit of this time to be like, maybe I can learn one new way of coping. I don't have to re-uphaul my whole entire emotional self right now, because there's already a lot of things going on. But like, what are some other things that I can do? Like, can I journal instead of having, a glass of wine at 3:00? Or can I, like, can I, go and like, there's all these, like, instead of buying a new bag that I don't need, maybe I could spend that money on like a virtual teletherapy session or something. Like, this is a good time to examine our behaviors, even myself. And again, like we talked about doing this work, I noticed within myself, like, oh, like I'm very free spirited, quote unquote. I'm using air quotes for people who can't see me, quote unquote. But then I was like, oh, I'm actually not free spirited, because I like the things, I like my day a certain way. I like being in control of my day. That's why I'm an entrepreneur. And all of these shifts that happen, and like working with my family in the house and stuff, I was like, oh my God, this was so fun. Prayer and the Lord is so cute. It tests your patience or your nerves, your ability to like be flexible. I don't know. So I feel like we're all getting a little bit of like extra lessons from Earth School right now.
Yeah, I'm going through it.
You're like, I am well aware of that.
Well, I'm really just like, everything that I am being taxed with right now is so funny that the universe has been telling me to do it for like 5 months and prepare. And I'm like, well, I need to do that for, well, now I need it,
Isn't that?
So yes, that's what you're doing it for.
I love that. No, I love
that. But it's okay.
Yeah, exactly. We're just paying attention to the best we can. We're all figuring it out. But I love that. That's a good reminder for people too. Like when you get that little nudge from spirit, like
you just want to be on the camera so bad you can't handle it. So why don't you tell, well, first let me say, if anybody out there is looking for support to build a toolbox, please reach out to Madi, because she's got a lot going on that is helpful to you guys, especially you ladies out there who are trying to get in touch with that divine femininity and masculinity. how to balance that thing because I know it can be tough to get both lined up. So tell everybody how they can find you if they want to get in contact with you.
Absolutely. So, the first I was love to invite people onto my Instagram at The Cosmic Revolution. We do daily doses of inspiration and energy updates, all based on the zodiac season. And there you can come hang with me. You can DM me. We have a ton of free resources. We do a Monday, Wednesday, Friday little morning show on there at 10 a.m. We just do a fun stuff there. And then if you want to work with me, you could DM me through there, or you can go to our website, thecosmicrevolution.com. We have a few, I see people privately. We also have a members only community for online events. And then I also am doing like a mentorship program now for people who are looking for their purpose and want to, figure out what that is and how they can get. So.
Thank you.
I hope that after watching that, you can see how things have sort of evolved for me personally, also as well as Maddie, if you're following her. Everyone is growing, and that is really the intention of the channel, is to show how you can grow, why you should grow, why you shouldn't be afraid of growth, because that is where, hello phone, and what it's 10:54, amen. And why you shouldn't be afraid of it, and why you have to be able to step into your power, because that's where you live. If you don't live there, then you continue to be inauthentic, and you continue to feel like something's missing from your life, and that you can't rise. And that's what I want to do. I want to help people to elevate themselves, and I want them to feel as best as possible. So make sure that you are following and subscribed to this channel so that you never miss an episode, because I'm going to keep on bringing the people through here to give you your healing, okay? All right, I'll see you guys later. Bye.